So in the Imperial System, which is an older system that is still used within the United States, in Canada it is used in some situations, and we see it a lot in building materials because most of our building materials are shared between Canada and the United States. So you hear a lot about things like inches and feet and yards. We don't talk about miles so much anymore. All of our speeds on our roads are in kilometers per hour. But there's still a lot of, your car still has miles per hour on the dashboard, and you can convert between those two. Most Canadians know their height in feet and inches. Even though on your driver's license, are you guys in driver's ed this year? No? You're not. Some of you, maybe. Right? On your driver's license, your height will be in centimeters. On all official Canadian documents, we will use the metric system. But because it's so prevalent, we still need to work within it. Now, the thing about the Imperial System is things are not based on tens. That's metric system was introduced so that you could easily convert between things by just moving the decimal place or multiplying by 10 or dividing by 10. Here, they're sort of random numbers, or somewhat arbitrary. Like an inch to a foot. 1 foot is 12 inches. The inch originally came from the length of the thumb. And in particular, they used the king's thumb because the king was most important. So,
does that mean the length changed with everything?
Well, they had basic measurements, and there was a problem that occurred in that there would be somewhat differing measurements in one area than another area. So eventually things became standardized and say, this is what the official inch is, and this is what the official yard is. And they had precise measurements that they kept in a certain place. So if you're ever wondering, are our feet off or are our inches off, you could go back to the official measurement one and check your meter sticks with it. In our age of technology now, things are pretty precise. But you can see that running into a problem in the past.
We actually still have a metal bar that's exactly.
Yeah, I think it's in France or something.
No, France has the upward pound.
Okay. So they keep these special things in certain places so that if we ever forget how long something is, we can go back and get the exact measurement of what they are. So a foot came from somebody's foot length, right? I can check on mine. Oh, perfect specimen of a teacher. No. So these squares on these tiles on the floor are building material. They are 1 foot by 1 foot. A yard is an arm span. Not my complete arm span. An arm span here. And a mile was how far the army could walk in 20 minutes. If they walked at the correct walking pace.
How do you define where the arm ends? Is it like the shoulder, or like where exactly does it end?
Yeah, well, let's see. It's like a yardstick is.
Because your arm as a human being blends into your.
Okay. So if I go to the center of my body to the tip, that's really close to a yard, 36 inches. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that it would not have been a person's arm like this. Now there are people that have arms that long, right? But not when they were using yards like people were shorter because of nutrition and things like that. So I'm guessing that the arm span there would have been half of the total length of both your arms. Okay? Oh, there's interesting. So a lot of the Imperial System was based on useful information. Right? This distance walked in 20 minutes. Why 20 minutes? So that you could say, okay, they can go 3 miles in an hour. Because time is measured in things of 20. So there was a practical reason for these measurements. It just makes our conversions a little bit harder. Right? So when we're going from 7 yards to feet, you first have to know how many feet are in a yard. And And so these are some of the things that, they're on your formula sheet, which I'll give to you in a bit. But they're also helpful to just have memorized. 1 yard is 3 feet. So if we want to go from 7 yards to feet, we can use the big to small technique. The small one you're going to need more to make them equal. So if I have 7 yards to feet, I'm going to need to multiply. What am I multiplying by this time? It's by 3. So that would mean that 7 yards would equal 21 feet. I take the 7, I multiply it by 3. We could also use the other technique that we were using. If I know that 1 yard is 3 feet, how do I go from 1 yard to 7 yards? I multiply by 7. So here, I multiply by 7 as well. Yards to inches. If we look at our conversion chart, we have both a conversion from yards to feet and a yards to inches. There are 36 inches in 1 yard. Again, we're going from the big one to the small one, and so we're going to need a lot more of the small one, and so we're going to need to multiply. If you multiply by 36, how good is your 36 times table? 252. Nice. So 7 yards is 252 inches. Oh man, I like multiplying. No, most of you haven't done 36 times table, okay? But you have probably done your 10s times table. So what you can do in a situation like this is 30 is the same as 30 plus 6. And 7 30s, well that's just 7 times 3 with a 0 on the end. That's 210. And 7 6s, that's in your times table, that's 42. And those things aren't too hard to add together to get 752. Or you can just go 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 6 is 42. Just add on the diagonals, sure enough it works. What? Isn't that cool?
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh.
Want to see another one? Okay, I'm getting off topic, sorry guys. 6 times, tell me a 5-digit number.
37,503.
Okay. 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 7 is 42, 6 times 5 is 30, 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 3 is 18. 8, 1, 0, 5, 2, carry the 1, 2. Is that cool? Now we're going to check and see if it's actually right.
Yep.
It is. Isn't that fancy?
Nice.
Nice. All right, see if you can figure out why that works. But you just need to know your times table up to 10, and you can know any times table after that. All right, but we want to change 62 inches now to feet and inches. So what does this mean? Well, sometimes there is some leftover, okay? So for example, 1 foot is 12 inches, and 5 feet, if you multiply by 5, is 60 inches. So 62 inches is 5 full feet, but you would still have 2 inches left over. Does that make sense? Because 5 feet is 60 inches and 62 inches. So to change this to feet and inches, we would say 5 feet, 2 inches. And if we want to use the symbols for feet and inches, does anyone know the symbol for feet? No?
two things it's there.
2 thingamajiggies?
Oh, like you mean like...
Five commas.
There's 1 for foot, 2 for inches. So you might have seen that in measurements before, maybe not. Maybe that's new, but those are symbols for feet and inches. Okay? Anybody 5'2"? Yay! This example was made just for you. So if you're 5 foot something, if you know that 5 feet is 60 inches, you can convert your height to inches. If you're 5'5", then you're 65 inches tall. If you're 5'9", then you're 69 inches tall. And so on and so on. Now, the only time that's really important is probably a couple of years ago when you were like at the Red River exhibition and they have like, you have to be 55 inches tall to go on this ride. So then you're like, oh, I'm 4'7", is that enough or not? So you'd have to figure that out. Or you just go under there, right? You go under there and you go like this. Am I tall enough? And get it that way. 92 inches to yards, feet, and inches. So we know that 1 yard is 36 inches. Obviously, 92 inches is more than 36. So one of the processes we're going to do here is find out how close can we get to 92. Like 2 yards, that's double, that would be 72 inches. 3 yards, that's triple it, would be 108 inches. This is too much. So we're going to have 2 full yards. Okay? 92 inches is equal to 2 yards, and if we did 2 yards, what would we have left? We would still have 20 inches left. Does that make sense? 1 yard is 72 inches. We have 92 inches. So we have 2 yards is 72 inches. And we have 92, so we have 2 yards and 2 left. From here, we have to break it up further. So we'll continue that tomorrow. Have a great day.